My name is Kenia Akridge, and ever since I was in kindergarten, I always had like an interest in art. My mom got me interested in art, and like when I was little, she would draw animals, like sea animals on flashcards and everything. I would always doodle on my paper, but I didn't really get like an actual interest. Like I wanted a career out of it until I was like 14, and I picked up a paintbrush for the first time. Um, and art was a way for me to express myself because growing up, I didn't really have like a happy go lucky childhood like everybody else. So art was a way for me to like work through a lot of trauma I had and stress that I had. And it still is like a therapy to me, but um, I want to pursue something creative and like as a career for the rest of my life, and that's just how I express myself in general. So yeah, that's what I want to be when I grow up. When I figured out like COVID was an actual like real problem, was I was in high school. I was a senior at the time, and we been heard about it in the news like early that year, but it became like wow, like it's actually happening when our schools shut down, and we thought we'll probably shut down for like 2 weeks, but then it shut down for like a whole year, and I didn't graduate. I didn't go to prom or anything, and I continued to stay in lockdown until the end of freshman year, um, till like half of sophomore year in college. No, I've never experienced like a quarantine like this or a pandemic before. It's new to me. Um, I guess I underestimated how long lockdown was. I didn't know like lockdown was going to be for 2.5 years. Um, and it really like told me, like showed me a lot about the world and how like people handled it and the conversation around it and the stuff that happened, like Black Lives Matter and everything. It really showed me and like opened me up to like how people actually are during times of stress. So I can understand like their concern because it was during time where it was early in the pandemic where people weren't vaccinated. There was barely any vaccines. People were still dying by the millions in this country, and there wasn't people weren't wearing masks, and there were anti-maskers and like white supremacists refusing to acknowledge that there was even a disease. So I can understand that. At the same time, we couldn't have waited. We can't wait for like situations like this, like when black men and black women were getting gunned down, and we've been ignoring it for like a very long time. And people, the reason why I feel people like it was like a big deal, like Black Lives Matter, and like people were actually opening their eyes to it was because they were at home and they were like forced to stay quarantined, and they couldn't ignore it. Like other times they ignored it and they had like maybe 2 weeks of media coverage and then like went under the rug. um, we didn't really have the option. And people were now during that time were more like watching the media and like paying attention to things because there was nothing else to do. So people paid attention more, which is great because now it's being like shown. So people that were ignoring it or was comfortable for some reason, they're now seeing the true colors of this country and that it's not like peaches and cream and that like this is actually happening. Like racism wasn't just a thing in the past; it's a thing like every day. We're fighting microaggressions and like stereotypes and being having opportunities taken away from us and like people like mistreating like people of color across the country. Nobody was now, no one had the opportunity to ignore it. So it really did shine a light on it. And I'm glad that people actively did protest and actively did went out and showed their voice because we actually had a lot of things done. And it became like a huge thing where I didn't really see it in my lifetime. I know I noticed like growing up that there was police brutality in this country and that there was um like like black people getting gunned down, and I noticed that when I was growing up, but it really wasn't as big now that I'm in my 20s. Um and a lot of media coverage, and it really showed, like, it opened a lot of people's eyes, really, like, even representatives and the people in office, how they treated and how they reacted to the killing of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor really opened a lot of people's eyes of like who's really representing us, who's really fighting the good fight, and who's just saying that to pander to us for votes. And to express the truth about what's going on. I think an artist's responsibility is to show the world through your creative lens, like how the world is, and not just to be relatable, but to document what's happening in today's world. Because this is a historical event, this is a historical time. We have 2-year quarantine, Black Lives Matter, Asian hate. Um, Now we're going through a recession, and um, what's going on in the White House with Trump and the insurrection. A lot of things has been happening within a span of 2 or 3 years, and I feel like us as an artist have a responsibility to really document that so that generations to come will see what history we had, and not just like through like a white lens or through like a washed out lens, but like the actual truth, like the actual nitty gritty of it, and to not be censored at all, and to also like empathize with the people that view your work, um because they have, like, a lot of people that are viewing our work, they are going through something too. So I think that we should be able to relate to the little people, to the people that don't really get a voice and are affected by this the most. Like, we should be able to have like a way to comfort the people that weren't really comfort during this time. Yeah, the pandemic really did affect my work. Um, I felt like my work was like more stiff and like very awkward because I've been in like isolation for all these years, and I was already like socially awkward as it is, so it just made it worse. But also, it in a way I was able to think about certain things and like um, my future and like how like life is really short, and I should like live life to the fullest and start to experiment with some of my works and like get out of the box, and really vent how I was feeling. Um, my art was a way for me to express how I felt at the time. So like I had like a lot of like strong feelings and opinions during that time because of what was happening and all this crap going on. But I really felt like my work, if I didn't express my art, if I didn't paint at all, I would go crazy because my art was the only thing that was keeping me um grounded. Um, we view art every day and we relate to the media that we see every day. So um, the more we see things that we can relate to and that we empathize with, we feel good that somebody is actually like understanding how we feel. And I think we should like view art and work that makes us comfortable and um, that we can relate to and we can see, especially with what's going on in today's world. My worst day in the pandemic, well, my worst like one couple of months during the pandemic was freshman year of college because I was in a dorm room for months and I wasn't able to socialize and I wasn't able to go to class the way I imagined. I imagined going to school and studying art and being able to collaborate with other artists and seeing things and interacting with my teacher and actually learning hands-on, and I didn't get that. I learned behind a computer screen, and I wasn't able to learn as much as I felt like I wanted to learn or should have learned. And just looking at four walls all day, every day, it's mentally taxing. And I just needed to get out and just needed to express myself. So it was really hard. So the pandemic really taught me that like the world sucks. Like the world really does suck. Like, there's a lot of bad people. I thought that, like, maybe the world was redeemable, and like, some, I really feel like it's not. There are a lot of good people out there. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good people. The way that during the pandemic, there were, like you said, like, there were food banks. There were people donating. There were nurses that were working, like, over the clock, like around the clock to help people. There were GoFundMe's. There were programs that helped people, and then there were like other people that refused to wear masks, that refused to get vaccines. White supremacists, Trump supporters, and people that overall didn't take the pandemic seriously, traveling and bringing back other variants here and spreading it and refusing to acknowledge that a disease exists while millions of people were dying globally. Like, and it was ridiculous. I really felt like wow, like the pandemic really showed me like y'all's true colors. Like, there was a lot of people that really just was not it. Did not pass the vibe check at all. And it just showed me like this country is really messed up. Like, this country is really messed up. If anything, it rewards bad behavior because a lot of the good people, like I noticed a lot of like the good people that really actually care about their fellow Americans, that really care about what's going on in the world, they don't get treated with the respect that they deserve versus people that are willing to let people die and politicize a deadly disease when millions of people are dying and pretend like it doesn't exist or make false promises. Those are the rich people. Those are the rich people that are making bank off of the backs of like hardworking Americans that have no choice, that's working every day, risking their lives to go out in the pandemic, to feed their families. And these rich people are going out spreading the virus, ignoring that there was a disease, and being horrible. For my fellow artists, I feel like during the pandemic or even during this time, just still continue to create because we have our own experiences and our own voices to share, and that we share our voices and express ourselves through our form of media, whether you paint, music, dance, photography, videography, etc. Like, do you and express yourself and don't censor yourself for other people. You know, sometimes people may not agree with what you have to say, and that's fine. But don't let them censor you, and don't let them um, reduce your voice and tell you what you can and cannot say, or what you can and cannot do or create. We have a responsibility to make sure that we express um, with like ourselves, and also tell the truth, tell the truth, and document how we feel and what's been going on in today's world. Um, that's what art has been doing for a millennia. Like, from like the Van Goghs, the Da Vinci's, the Picassos, they've been documenting what's been going on in their lifetime. And now it's our turn. So don't let people tell you what you can and cannot do. And just do what you enjoy doing and have fun. Because if you don't have fun doing this, then what's the point? So just do whatever you want.